Having an unlimited budget for an office chair, which one would you choose? Considering that some of us spend hours sitting in contact with their office chairs, this might be one of the most important decisions that you can make. And one of the choices that you've got is a world-renowned Herman Miller Embody office chair. This is a chair that starts from $1,900. It gives you an 8-way adjustment. If you want to go all in, you've got this chair, which is a 7G11 from Power Seats. It's an electric office chair. That's my own chair, which gives you 18-way adjustment. So let's see which one could suit you better, and we will see what they've got, what adjustment possibilities they do have. I'm 1 meter 83 centimeters tall or 6 feet tall. Which one can suit my body better? Let's dig into this and see how it goes. So is an $8,000 office chair 4 times as good as a $2,000 office chair? Let's see. So what would be the first thing that you notice in an office chair? For me, that would be the way it looks. And what do you guys think about these two? 7G11 is wrapped in nappa leather. They come in beige and black mostly. I'm also personally involved with the brand. This Herman Miller Embody comes in fabric, and I would suggest one thing if you would be going for this kind of chair, this specific model, because this frame in the back, that's an interesting part of the chair. However, if it's black like now here, it's probably called some dark graphite or something like that. It doesn't really stand out. If you want it to be exposed and look pretty cool, I would suggest that you get it in a white color so that you actually see some kind of cool aspect of this chair, which is the main part of it. Otherwise, it looks like just a huge chunk of plastic, this chair. This is a whole different story. It looks heavy because it is heavy. You've got some nice patterns here. If you like nice patterns, if you don't, you can have it also without those patterns here, just plain leather right there. But let me know which one you think looks cooler. And moving to the second most quickly noticeable thing, which is right when you sit in it, is the seat. And here on Embody, it is actually very nice. I really like the seat's fabric, which is kind of foamy on top. It's a very soft material, which is like 1.5 centimeters in depth, something like this. Underneath, if you sit for a very long time, you may at some point feel that there is a sort of a construction made of springs. You may actually notice that it's there, but it's nothing terrible. I can sit here really for hours, and that really is probably one of the best, if not the best, seat cushion out of all office chairs that I've ever tried, including Herman Miller Aeron, which I also have reviewed in another video compared to this Embody and the 7G11, and also Ergo Human in one more video. Jumping on the 7G11, you've got springiness here because of the soft cushioning all around here. This chair is more holding you in spot. It is more narrow, so it kind of enforces a different position on you. It doesn't let you sit like this, which this one does, if this is your kind of thing. Here you won't be able to do that very much, or you will be able to do it. It won't be very enjoyable. The seat will not be happy with it. Some other ergonomic chairs also enforce that position. The Aeron from Herman Miller is also doing that. I do like that. I enjoy that. The thing about this one is that it's plush. So you sit in it, it's like, oh, that's nice. That's how I can sit for hours. So I think what you see now, these two chairs, so the Herman Miller Embody and 7G11 from Power Seats, these have the most comfortable seats, the cushioning here ever. I haven't found anything that sitting on would be more enjoyable in terms of all kinds of different office chairs, and also gaming chairs, which are backstabbers. There was one, that's the famous Titan Evo, which actually lets you survive for a little bit of time. I also reviewed that one, putting it against some other gaming chairs, so that would be the best. And it's so far from this. It's completely a different story. There you're fighting for survival. This is nice. This lets you sit for a long time. What we can do here in terms of adjustments of the seat in Embody is using this joystick. You can adjust the height, put it up, put it down the way you want. Another thing that you can do, which is very cool, is you can expand the front part of the chair. And I'm gonna do it by grabbing these two things. It's pretty easy expanding it forward. Yeah, that's the full expansion like this. I've got like 2 fingers of space now, being fully back and resting against the backrest. This is really nice, gives you some freshness, and you can change the idea of the chair a lot when you bring it back. This is quite hard to bring it back. You need to lift it, and at the same time, yeah, it not always wants to go, and I can see and feel that there is a gap. Lift and back, it went a little bit. So this is a bit of a struggle. especially if you're a little bit weaker like I am physically. Yeah, that was a joke, obviously. But yeah, this option is really nice. It changes the idea of the chair. You just feel differently on it. What you can do with 7G11 is also the same kind of thing. Is it on? Yes, it is. So the first thing you can do is you can adjust the height as well by using this switch. It's kind of a tilting motion. It goes a little bit forward, going up, going up, going up, and going up. At the same time, you see that it's making it easier to stand up and sit down on it because it's leveled like this. So what you can do is you can use the same switch and lift the front part of the chair to level it and to go even further. So now it's back to being like this if you prefer this way of sitting. There is also a depth extension so that you can get your knee support. Actually, this is way too far for me. Let's make it like an Embody. So 2 fingers, it would be something like this. So you've got the same option. You've got the same option here of making the chair feel differently. If you want to stretch your legs, if you want to put them on a footrest, which 7G11 comes with equipped, you can do it this way. You can also lower the front part, still having it extended so that you don't slide forward that much. Keep it leveled any way you want. And then you can bring it all the way back. There is also a kind of traditional lift installed on the chair that makes it revolve left and right. So you can either compress it more or you can expand it to have a default position at a different level here. That you have to do manually. You can access it from the back or when installing the chair if you know that you need it very, very, very high. It's also coming with a few of those lifts if you're very, very tall. So we basically have it the same with an exception of this one moving electrically, that one moving manually, and this one being able to also level itself in terms of moving the front part separately, which is pretty cool. So the adjustment possibilities here are really, 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 really wide. With armrests, you've got a few possibilities here with Embody. They quite easily move up and down. There is this interesting angular motion when you move them up and down. The other thing you can do is you can move them to the sides, left and right. This is not very precise, but what you cannot do is you cannot move them forward, backwards. So if you want to sit at a desk and still use armrests as a support, then that might be a bummer because you won't come very close to a desk. You've got to consider that. Also, the padding is quite hard, and this is not actually the nicest thing to have as an armrest. With 7G11, they are wrapped in nappa leather. This is quite soft here. There is additional foam. They also move up and then down. They move backwards, they move forward. You can also flip them in the mount if this is still too far for you. It's not actually too far from the desk, so I can come close enough to actually use them as a support and use my keyboard here and the mouse. So not bad here. That can be a deal breaker. Be careful, make sure that you'll be fine when you get them out of the way and just kind of slide underneath a desk. Getting to the topic of backers, which is very important if you want to keep your back nice and healthy and without pain. The first thing here in Embody is this lever here, which is basically working as a knob, not a lever, which lets you adjust kind of a recline of the backers. It's more of a shape of the backers because it's pushing it here. So it's making it go like this instead of just, you know, adjust the level, the tilt. So the recline technically. So this is one thing you can do. You can have it forward like this. You can have it fully backward, like, it's very loose now, like this. Yeah, so you've got that possibility. It's kind of changing. I feel resting more now on my lower back, which probably wouldn't be the way that I would like it to have. I like it evenly, so I would keep it probably somewhere in the middle. The other thing you can do, you can unlock the backrest tilt or the whole chair tilt, but you can only do it when you first move forward because there is this movement here. If you keep the chair in a way that allows you to tilt backwards, to make it work as a swing, sort of. So if you do it like this, you need to remember that you first need to go forward, then you need to unlock this. There's 1, 2, 3 positions, and then you can go all the way back like this. If for some reason you want to not allow yourself to go that far, you can bring it one position higher. Yeah, so again, forward. That's the full way of going back. You can, on the way, stop it one position further forward and one position further forward even more, and then you can, but you need to first go fully forward, then you can lock it like this. So the thing you cannot do is you cannot leave it in any recline position that you want. What you can do is you can work with this lever and adjust how hard it is, or rather how much weight it needs to go back. You can adjust it, move it forward a bit to kind of find the way that would make it stop in a spot that you would like it. However, then if you move, of course, it's going to change. You're going to be moving constantly. So it's for those that like to do something like watching, so they don't get their hands involved. They don't need to be precise. They don't need to move a mouse or type, or they just want to sit at the meeting. That could make sense, I think. So if you've got a big conference room and you've got people just sitting there and talking or watching one Zoom call, then they can do that. Not having a tilt lock is a bummer to me. That can be a deal breaker to me. That would be a deal breaker actually. However, there's one more thing you can do. So as you saw, there is this motion of a backrest here. However, it's mostly and sometimes only there if you loosen the whole tilt mechanism with this knob here. So let me loosen it again and I'll show you how much it can move, and then I'll tighten it all the way back and you'll see how it moves. So this is the motion now, like this. From the back it looks like this. It can flex a little bit. It's actually quite okay in terms of making this whole thing a little bit softer. Then I'm going to tighten it. It's going to take a moment. So go make your tea or coffee in the meantime, or you may count the rotations. I'm making around half a rotation with one move of my arm, something like this. Okay, I reached the destination. And now, good thing of this, of tightening it fully, is that now this kind of tilting into this gap, this loose gap in the beginning of the motion, so when you sit and you just take your position, is gone. So it's no longer doing that. But now look at the backrest. It's actually very, very hard to move it now. I need to support myself with the armrest. It still kind of can move, but this is definitely not how it wants to move. The thing with this setting for me was that those sticky edges come against my shoulder blades, and that hurts me very quickly. So I couldn't sit like this. It also makes me slouch a lot because of the shape of the backrest. It's like this. It's like sitting in an eggshell. So this is not cool in my case. You also cannot really recline because it's too hard, so you need to loosen it. You need to find your spot this way. Let's go somewhere in the middle, somewhere like here. Can I tilt? Yes, I can tilt. Does it flex? It does a little bit more. However, I still feel the edges, and especially here, those sticky points. So that's what you're having here on the Embody. With 7G11, is it on? It's on now. You've got a few things. Let's first work with the backrest just like that, from an upright position or even position that can squeeze you and explode the eggshell. This is too much forward, way too much. So you can adjust the recline fully as you like it. So all the way back, or stop it at any point that you want. Well, of course, nobody was gonna sit like this, but you can leave it this way. Or what you can do is you can use this part of the adjustment and keep your lower back at some angle, but then you decide, okay, but this is too far back for me. I want to have some control. I want to see the screen or do whatever else. And then you can adjust the upper part of the backrest alone, the shoulders area. So it comes forward with the headrest, and actually this changes a lot. Now I'm okay. Without this, I would be too much bent back. Let's go fully forward. You'll see what the range of motion is. That's it. So it's coming very much forward. This is pretty cool, especially if you're a taller person and you want to have some support. Here you've got support, but it's a soft kind of support, not the sticking out like there. So these are two things you can do. One more thing you can do is you can adjust side bolsters. You can make them tight. You can make them grab and hug you like they are coming right now, if you see that. Squeezing and squeezing. Yeah, that's it, done. So the chair is now pretty narrow. It's squeezing me. It's holding me very much in place. In fact, actually too much. That would not be the way. It would be probably somewhere like this. But if you feel like not having it this way, you can make it very, 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 very flat. Yeah, and now there are spots. There's a lot of space between my body and this. So that's kind of lifting me up, squeezing. It's a pretty nice feeling if you like it. I do, so I keep it somewhere in the middle. And the last thing you can do is you can adjust the four-way lumbar. So this whole area of the chair. So it's divided in three parts: the top part, the middle part, and the lower part. And so there is a switch which got the arrow down, which is pumping the bottom part of the lumbar support. It's coming already, actually too much already. The middle part, the arrow forward, which is pumping the middle part of it, and then the top part, which is making the top part come up. It's around here, so pretty high. And then the arrow back is just pushing everything back. It's letting the air out. That's how it works. So there's plenty of possibilities here. Well, this is the end for Embody. There's nothing more that you can do with it. So we may just as well say bye-bye to it. And here with 7G11, you still have a few more things. So for the demonstration purposes, let's start with the headrest, which you can electrically move up. And this is way too high for me, or down, somewhere like this. Second thing you can do, if, for example, you don't want the shoulder area to be that much forward, but you want your head to be more supported, or you want to feel how much far you can go back. This is too far for me, so I can just extend this part forward. The full extension will be somewhere here. It's basically doing the same thing, just without the shoulders. But let's say you want to keep it like this, you want to go to sleep, which you probably shouldn't do too much in an office chair. That's not the idea. You can take a sporty position, support your legs. Let's say you've got a footrest there, a tall one like this. You're sitting, go back, and you want to play a little game with your head. Let's put it a little bit down so that it's closer to my head, and you can work with the pillow itself. So you can manually make it like this to hold your head inside, like in a plane. They sometimes have those side, let's call them panels, that can hold it. You've got the same thing here, then it works and looks like this, and I don't want to crash into the wall. So this is what you're having as an extra part here. It's pretty fun to play with it. It also takes a moment to find your perfect position. You can also change it all the time, anytime you want, in fact. So that's a good thing if you want to keep moving and have some interesting things happening with your body. And yeah, so these were the 18 ways that you can adjust 7G11 in versus the 8 ways that you can adjust this one in. So then, is 7G11 better than the Embody? Well, it's got many more adjustment possibilities, so it will likely serve so many more users and so many more body types, so many more people of different heights and body weights and shapes and so on. So it's more adjustable in other ways. It's gonna suit pretty much anybody you will put on it. One thing you need to remember about 7G11 is that its seat itself is more narrow, and some may not like that. Then probably this kind of idea might be better, as long as you don't work at the desk, because these armrests won't go back. So you're stuck sitting like this with your arms forward, or anyway with your arms forward, not supported by the armrests, because they won't go forward. Another thing is the backrest, and I just could not find this thing moving constantly very comfortable for me with those edges and the frame, and with it being pretty narrow. So I didn't just have enough support. A happy back and a happy butt make for a happy user. So I am such a happy user. And my bottom line would be that if you can spend this much money for an office chair, then do it. Of course, that's the better thing. That's like buying a Rolls-Royce of office chairs. This is just another level. Is the difference big? Yes, it is very, very, very big. Is it 4 times better? Well, that's a good question. It's got more than twice as many adjustment possibilities. The range is also larger. So I think it could justify the thing if you count that this is a pretty expensive material, this nappa leather, that you've got electronics, you've got all the controllers and switches, and the sheer fun of having it electric. The battery lasts for up to 6 months if you remember to switch it off. There is this light here that reminds you about it. So if you would like to get one, go to powerseats.eu and you can find these guys in mostly 2 colors. They usually come in the black and beige, and ask for availability. If you tell them that you're coming from me, from Vitold, nice things might happen to you. Okay, have a good one. See you.